The lens might be dirty. I don't know. I really cleaned that mess. All right. Either way, it should be fine. All right, we are live. I think that means I'm live. I'm not sure. It seems to happen recently when I've been on here. So, all right. And today is what? It is Tuesday, October 24th. Of course, my dog starts drinking loud, like a slob, as soon as I come on here. But anyway, it is. If you've been on my channel for a while, you know that this is what they do. Wait till I come on here and then they do that. And they'll ring the bell too. Anyway, today is Tuesday, October 24th, 2023. It's now 8:44 p.m. So I'm trying to get on more like 8:30 every night instead of 9:30. And anyway, so here we are. Let me put a few things mute. And we're going to pull this up. Oh, the apocalypse. Ooh, scary. Scary apocalypse. All right. $73 seconds. All right. Oh, yeah, I think it's good and fine. All right. So anyway, I got the Bible ready here. We're going to be doing. Actually, what I should have done is put part 2. Let me see. I don't know how to do this, you guys. Hold on a second, because I gotta put before I forget. Because actually, this is going to be chapter 2. Chapter 2. Okay, so let me just. I gotta edit the video real quick. Yesterday we did chapter 1. Today we're going to do chapter 2. The book of Revelation. We're going to show how the verses are parallel to random verses in the Old Testament. Mostly of the prophets, but not limited to. Also 1st and 2nd Kings and whatever, Psalms. So, okay. Parallel verses, Book of Revelation and Old Testament. All right, I'm going to put chapter 2. Chapter 2. All right. We'll keep track. There you go. Probably do one chapter a night. That look okay? Yeah. All right. So that's the plan, Stan. Let me shut a couple of these that I don't need. Ooh, that's blown. That is big. All right, anyway. So there we go. It says chapter 2. Because yesterday we did chapter 1. Tonight we're going in chapter 2 of the book of Revelation. And this is where Jesus, this is where he starts the letters to the churches. So, okay, and I do have 7 stars. Actually, they might have missed one on here. Oh, wow. Oh, hey, Dee, good to see you tonight. Hope you've been well. Welcome. Hope everything's going okay for you. We haven't seen you a couple days. We always hope you're doing good. There we go. This thing's I got it taped onto a microphone stand, so it's kind of. I really can't adjust it, so. Anyway, I think it'll be fine. I might be able to push it down, though. Done got lots of rain today. Oh, yeah. We had a little bit. You had a lot. That might be okay for fall, huh? All right. There we go. Sorry, I can't get this thing to stay. Anyway. So good to see you tonight, Dee. I hope, even with the rain, I hope everything went well for you today. All right. I put chapter 2 in there. All right. As you can see, Dee, we're just going through, you probably remember a year and a half ago, we went through the book of Revelation. Seems a lot longer than a year and a half. It really does. It seems like it's been 2.5 years, but I guess it's only been 1.5 years. In February of 2022, I think. Seems a lot longer than that. Because you know why? Tom was here and Pinch was on here, and it's just like, man, that seems like a lot longer than. Anyway. Oh, hey, Galax, good to see you tonight. Hope you had a great day also. Hope everybody's Tuesday went awesome. Oh, you know what? So remember last night, I said, I started watching this lady who is kind of, well, hey, Ray of Sunshine, good to see you tonight. Welcome. So remember last night I mentioned there's a lady who was staying in her, like a box truck. And she was, anyway, the reason I'm watching her is because she had tagged me in one of her videos. And maybe the Mandela effect one, I'm not sure. But anyway, she tagged me in one of her videos, so I went and checked out her channel. I've been watching her. So anyway, remember last night I told you she had made it all the way back to California, where she was getting a job interview, and the truck broke down, and it was something with the turbo. It could be $2,000. Well, like I said, send prayers, positive vibes, whatever you can, positive thoughts. Well, today she just came on a little bit ago, and she's there. And guess what? It was just a gasket, and it was only $150. And so she didn't have to spend $400 on a rental. She didn't have to. Anyway, so things just like completely turned around for her. And she thanked people for the positive vibes and thoughts and all that. And I do believe it works, whether it's prayers or positive thoughts or just sending, good vibes or whatever. Anyway, so everything just turned around for her today. So I am super happy for her. And she's got her job interviews. And anyway, that just shows you what a difference one day can make. Like yesterday, everything looked so horrible. And then today, it just like everything turned around, And so anyway, I think it is good when people send their just positive good wishes. And well, hey, Omar and Grace, good to see you guys tonight. Welcome. But yeah, anyway, it's really good to see like that. So anyway, yesterday seemed hopeless. Today is everything couldn't have been better. She canceled her $400 rental before she had minutes before she had to get it. And anyway, what a difference a day make. I've been this lady, I should say, not a girl. To me, everybody's young. I always see a kid when I see a guy, because everybody seems young to me. But anyway, it's a young lady that I think her name is Aphrodite Star or something like that. But anyway, she had broken down and anyway had a lot of problems, and it's just like today everything just turned around for her, and I'm just happy for her. I don't know, she had tagged me in one of her videos. I got a notification that I was tagged in one of her videos, so I started watching her, and oh, she's interesting. She's a Grace would know this. She's a physician's assistant. It's a PCA, whatever they are. But anyway, as I was in the medical field, and so was she. But anyway, yeah, I just been kind of watching her, and anyway, again, good positive vibes goes out to her. Prayers, good wishes, whatever you want to call it. She thinks it helps, and I think it does too. So, all right. So yesterday, you guys, we started the parallel verses between the book of Revelation and the Old Testament. And as we saw, a very large portion of it is taken just randomly from books such as, Exodus, but mostly like Daniel, Isaiah, Zechariah, Ezekiel, the prophets, Isaiah, but not limited to prophets. We got 1st and 2nd Kings, Jeremiah, Psalms, Isaiah, Job, even taken from Job. Anyway, we're going to be going to chapter 2 tonight. That's what we're in. I have gone ahead and a few minutes on here late because I gone ahead and I got this ready here. My Bible. I got a spare Bible with jumbo print. So I have, this thing's kind of, oops. Let me see if I can do this better. Anyway, so yesterday we started with chapter 1 of the book of Revelation. And as you can see, we didn't get very far before it starts borrowing from the Old Testament. And everything in yellow has been borrowed from the Old Testament. This was chapter 1 right there and up to there. That's where we ended. So as you can see, everything in yellow was borrowed from these sources. Or borrowed, what I think it's nicely to say borrowed. Not like they were going to give it back. I think if you take something and not give it back, I think that's stealing. But we'll just say they borrowed it. They haven't given it back yet. Anyway, so here's the book of Revelation, chapter 1. We went through this yesterday, and we're going to go through chapter 2 today. So as you can see, very much of chapter 1 was taken randomly, plucked out of the Old Testament. And that's where we ended in chapter 1 yesterday. So now we're going to be in chapter 2 tonight. And as you can see, it's taken from Deuteronomy. This is chapter 2. We'll just show you the page. The page, here's the page. Page of chapter 2. As you can see, that's how much has been taken from the Old Testament. Randomly plucked out of... I'm sorry. And then we got the next page here. The next page, this is continued chapter 2. As you can see on the second page of chapter 2, it finishes off with 1, 2, 3 more sections taken from multiple sources. As you can see, just this one verse alone was taken from 1st and 2nd Kings, 3 verses there. The Jezebel verse. Verse 23 tonight is taken from Jeremiah. Verse 27, the chapter ends borrowing, air quotes, from, who is that? Psalms. So actually, let's go back a page. So tonight we're going to see chapter 2 start out. Sorry, I don't have this very steady because I have it in my hand with a long stick. All right. chapter 2 is going to start out right away, borrowing from Deuteronomy 23:14. Oops, let me just get this. Hard to hold this dang thing. All right. So I'll start out with that, Deuteronomy. Then it's going to go down to here. Wait, I can't see. All right. All right, so verse 1 and verse 7 is taken from Genesis. Verse 14 taken from Numbers 25:2 and Numbers 31:16. So as you can see, we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 sources in chapter 1 tonight. Chapter 2. All right. So I'm going each chapter and marking it. So when we get done, we'll be able to flip through the book and we'll show you how much of this has been taken from all these different sources. All right. Let me try to tighten this thing up. I'm not sure why it's not tight. All right, so we'll start out. Now I can't really see your comments. Let me see if I can do this better. How can I do this better? It thinks I'm trying to focus, but I'm trying to see the comments. But it's all right, it focused. I'll take the focus. All right. Are there plans to give it back? I don't think so. I think when you take something and you don't give it back, I think it's called stealing. And they didn't ask either, so I don't think. Anyway, so here we go. Yeah, I cannot see your comments on my screen here. So anyway, oh well, I'll just check back in a little bit, guys. We're just going to start here because there is kind of a lot to cover. So anyway, chapter 2. Because we went through chapter 1 yesterday, as you can see yesterday. Look at all the sources, one-liners and all whatnots that they took straight. The whole entire chapter, first chapter, was taken from these sources right here, as you can see. Now we're into chapter 2. We're going to start right off the bat in chapter 2, verse 1, like you just saw. Like you saw. Now, I actually think I'll go down here and we'll read. All right, so it says, unto the angel. Oh, by the way, this is where Jesus starts, addressing the 7 churches of Ephesus. And we showed the map yesterday. We showed where the island of Patmos in Greece is right off the coast of these 7 churches in Asia, right? You got all this, Ephesus, Patmos, all Paul's churches. Paul's churches. I could show the map here when we're done. I could have showed that again, but whatever. So chapter 2 starts out, unto the church of Ephesus write these things, saith he that holdeth the 7 stars in his right hand, who walketh in the midst of the 7 golden candlesticks. Taken from what? Deuteronomy 23:13. So let's see what Deuteronomy 23:13 says. Some of these are word for word, some are word for word, and some are very close. So anyway, let's see what this says. 2 verse 1, I want to make sure you can see it. It says, now this is taken from Daniel 23:14. And this is all the King James, so there's no argument over that. Anyway, for the Lord thy God walketh in the midst of thy camp to deliver thee and give thee up to thy enemies before thee. Therefore shall thy camp be holy, that that he see no unclean thing in thee, and turn away from thee. All right. All right. I'm looking on my book here. I think I'm going to continue to read, okay? Because we'll read the whole chapter instead of just these verses. So here's the verse that we just read. Right there. So anyway, we got this more that's original. Doesn't seem to be taken from anything. And then we'll get into more that was taken from Genesis and so on. So it says, after the 7 golden candlesticks, I know thy works and thy labor and thy patience, and how thou canst not bear them which are evil, and thou hast cast them which say, or thou hast tried them which say that they are the apostles and are not, and have found them liars. Now, who do you think they're talking about? Who fits this? Now, mind you, he's talking to who? Church of Ephesus. Who's running the Church of Ephesus? Who says he's an apostle? And I just recently showed evidence where he cannot be an apostle. He wasn't qualified, which is why they picked Matthias. And there's no room for a 13th apostle. Anyway, I 100% believe he's talking about Paul. Paul is the one running the Church of Ephesus. Well, he's right. Okay. So he's addressing the Church of Ephesus. Jesus is. All right. I know that works, and that labor and the patience. All right. But what does it say? Has tried them which say they are apostles and are not, and have found them liars. Paul even said, I'm a liar, so what? First he said he wasn't a bunch of times, and then he admitted he was. All right. And has borne and has patience, and for my name's sake has labored and has not fainted. Nevertheless, I have somewhat against thee, because thou hast left thy first love. Remember, therefore, from whence thou art falling, and repent, and do the first works, or else I will come unto thee quickly, and will remove thy candlestick out of his place, except thou repent. But this thou hast, that thou hatest the deeds of the Nicolaitans, which I also hate. We studied the Nicolaitans one time. I can't remember really much about it. Now here's where it goes parallel with Genesis 2:9. He that has an ear, let him hear the Spirit unto the churches. To him that overcometh, I will give him the tree of life, which is in the midst of the paradise of God. Now, actually, you can see they do actually, even in this study, they actually do quote Genesis 2:9, which I had written there. But they also, not sure what that is. Anyway, so what is Genesis 2:9? So let's look up here in Genesis 2:9, matching closely with Revelation 2:7. 2:7. All right, so what does 2:9 say? Let's see how closely that matches. Well, we already know what it's going to say. It's about the tree of life in the garden. And out of the ground the Lord had grow and out of the ground made the Lord God to grow every tree that is pleasant in sight and for food, the tree of life also in the midst of the garden, and the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Also remember in the very last chapter of Revelation, I can't remember what it's at, 24, 27, I don't remember. But the very last, With me, it's 24. But in the very last, when the New Jerusalem comes down, they describe it. They're talking about the tree in the middle, and I don't know, very much Genesis to also. All right, so we're gonna keep going here. Tree in the midst of the garden. All right. And unto the angel of the church of Smyrna. This is another church. And by the way, I'll pull up the map here, show you where John is sitting when he's writing on the island of Patmos. And the churches that he's writing to is just really offshore, writing to these churches. Not really that far. And unto the angel of the church of Smyrna write these things, saith the first and the last, which was dead and is alive. I know thy works and tribulation and poverty, but thou art rich. And by the way, anytime you see in parentheses like that, that is a corrupt text, and that was added by the translator later on to maybe help the reader understand the text. But if you look it up at the time, they're talking about Smyrna, and Smyrna really was very rich at the time. I don't even think it exists anymore. Maybe some rubble. But at the time, they really were at money. But anyway, I know that works in tribulation, poverty, but thou art rich, and I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan. Actually, I don't think any of these churches exist anymore. Maybe we went through these churches one night, these 7 churches, and I can't remember. Grace has a good memory. She might remember, but we went through these 7 churches, and there might be 1 or 2, but most of them are just like a pile of rubble. But back in the day, these were big cities and stuff, and these were big churches. But I don't know. Most of these cities, they might not even exist. Who knows? But I can't remember how many of them. But we saw there's usually a footprint at least of these churches that are still left, that aren't left, I should say. All right. I know that works, that tribulation and poverty, but thou art rich. And I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan. And you know what's interesting about that? Remember Paul, one minute he says he's like he keeps saying he's a Jew and he's a Pharisee and he's a Pharisee of Pharisees and he was trained under Gamaliel. And the next minute he says, forget the law. When Gamaliel was like the Einstein of law, you know what I mean? Like how could you flip-flop like that? But then Paul says he's a chameleon. He when he's with this group, he pretends he's that, and this group, so who knows? Was Paul even a Jew? Who knows? Just strange behavior for a Jew, you know what I mean? Everything he did. Anyway, so who knows what he's talking about? Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that you may be tried, and you shall have tribulation 10 days, and be faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. Do you know how many people, Christians, are walking around thinking this is probably what's going to happen to them? All this stuff. And this is really a sick thing to do to somebody, to walk around wondering how them 10 days are going to be before they chop your head off and all that stuff. Like, this is like torment to think that this is going to happen to you and everybody else. And, which I don't believe anymore, but it's kind of cruel to make people think this, because how many Christians think this is going to happen? They think FEMA camps are built right now and they're going to be locked up and they're going to, have to confess Jesus and all this stuff. That's never, ever going to happen. Anyway, but what a horrible way to spend your life. And I mean, worrying about stuff like this, that's never going to happen. Anyway, in my opinion. Who knows? Anyway, he that has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit saith unto the churches. He that overcometh shall not be hurt by the second death. So just give up your first one, and guess what? You're going to get a crown, a special crown for going into prison and stuff and dying. Special crown, but not now, later in the next life. And look, you get the no second death. So all kinds of good promises here. And to the angel of the church of Pergamos. Oh, here we go, Pergamos. These things saith he that has a sharp sword with two edges. I know that works, and where thou dwellest, and where Satan's seat is, and thou holdest fast my name, and has not denied my faith, even in those days when Antipas was my faithful martyr, who was slain among you where Satan dwells. You know what's interesting about that? I looked into this one time. Sorry, is this thing rotating? All right. So this should be a huge clue right here. Sorry, I'm going to get this focused. This should be a huge clue right here. There is no stories anywhere. Who's Antipas? Jesus is saying, even though in those days when Antipas was my faithful martyr who was slain among you where Satan dwells. Yeah, what now? And I looked up Antipas, and there was an Antipas. Nah, I think it's a Catholic thing. Anyway, how come? But this is not like you like you can find something about Antipas if it's the same one. Who knows? Who's this faithful martyr? He's saying my faithful martyr. Jesus is saying my faithful martyr. Antipas, well, I mean, we remember Stephen. That one is really, in fact, you know what? The only Christian, or as you want to call them, or followers of the way, the only ones that were slain that we know of is Stephen, who we didn't even know. You met him on the day he got killed. But not one other disciple was in the Bible was killed. So who is this Antipas that was slain? My faithful martyr. Because, I don't know, I see in the whole thing. And that, by the way, isn't even in the Gospels. It was in the book of Acts when Stephen was slain. And that's where enter Paul. That's how Paul comes in the picture. Stephen, the only martyr that we know of. Anyway, I'll keep going. And I can't see the comments right now, so I'll come back. All right, now. All right, so now we're down at 14 down here, and this is where it's going to be parallel with Numbers 25 and Numbers 31:16. And it says, but I have a few things against thee, because thou hast them that hold the doctrine of Balaam, who taught Balak to cast a stumbling block before the children of Israel, to eat things sacrificed. Now, anybody come to mind, you guys? If you read the Gospels and then you read the book of Acts and then Paul's letters, who do you think in this group of suspects, who do you think is the one that was teaching everybody to eat things sacrificed to idols? Because back then, so they'd be sacrificing all these animals to all different gods, and then they would have a town butcher shop where you could eat these animals, buy them for cheap, and like get a good deal on them, and then you could eat it at home for your family, cook it at home. But that animal has been sacrificed to an idol, but you got it at a discount. Anyway, so who is it? Who could this possibly be? Who, Kathy? Who? Well, I think it's Paul. I think it's obvious, actually. All right. Sacrifice unto idols and to commit fornication. By the way, fornication isn't even a word really that is in the Old Testament. That's a made-up thing for the New Testament, by the way, fornication. What, goodness. Anyway. Now 15, now it goes, look, okay, but we're going to go back to that verse that just, we're going to see the parallel verse. So Numbers 25, but I have a few things against these. You're eating Baal stuff. So it's 25, 2 and 31, 16 of Numbers. So let's look. And what is that? What would that be? And that is verse 14. So verse 14. Look at what Numbers 25, 2. And they called the people unto sacrifices of their gods, and the people did eat and bowed down to their gods. Yeah, it was kind of a, you're not really supposed to eat food that's been sacrificed to like Baal. Say if they sacrifice, even if it's like a clean animal, like a cow or a pig or what, I'm not pig, a cow or a lamb, but it was sacrificed to the wrong gods. You're not supposed to eat it. Anyway, and you imagine the butcher shop outside the temple in Jerusalem. Goodness. They had sales every day, I'm sure. All right, where are we at? 20. All right. So again, they're eating food sacrificed to Baal. And 31:16, behold, they caused the children of Israel. Isn't that interesting? Look how close this is. Behold, these caused the children of Israel through the counsel of Balaam to trespass against the Lord in the matter of Peor. And there was a plague among the congregation of the Lord. All right. Eating stuff, stumbling blocks, eating stuff sacrificed to Baal. All right. But they added the fornication thing because that wasn't even a word back in those. And by the way, hell, there is no hell in the Old Testament either. No hell. Hell is a Roman Greek invention of Pan the goat god. It's not a thing. Anyway, but it sure does rack in the business in the church because you're going to go in there and find out from them how to avoid this flamey fire thing after you die. All right, so it's pretty handy for them. All right, what verse are we at next? 14. All right, and 14. Okay, next we have 15. So I'm reading through my cracked phone, so if I can't see it, that's why, because I'm reading through the screen of this thing. It's kind of hard to read through the screen. All right, unto idols to commit fornication. So hast thou also them that hold the doctrine of the Nicolaitans, which thing I hate. Repent, or else I will come unto thee quickly, and will fight against them with the sword of my mouth. He that has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit saith unto the churches. To him that overcometh will I give to eat of the hidden manna, and will give him a white stone, and in the stone a new name written, which no man knoweth, saving that he receiveth it. And unto the angel of the church of Thyatira, these things saith unto the Son of God, who hath his eyes unto like a flame of fire. Remember, we went over that yesterday. The eyes like the flame of fire. Remember? That came out of, I don't know, some Old Testament books, Ezekiel or something. These things that saith the Son of God, who has the eyes like the flame of fire, and his feet are like fine brass. Remember? That was out of the Old Testament too. So we could have that one yellowed out, but we won't. I know thy works and charity and service and faith and thy patience and thy works, and the last is more than the first. And now here's where it comes into parallel with First and Second Kings, 2 verses in First Kings and 1 verse in Second Kings. And it says, we'll look at that in a second. Notwithstanding, I have a few things against thee, because thee suffer that woman Jezebel, which calls herself a prophetess, to teach and to seduce my servants to commit fornication, again with the fornication, and to eat things sacrificed unto idols. Now we'll see what First and Second Kings is. And you know what? You know what I could do? Well, I will do this. Oops. I'll do this first. First and Second Kings. So in First Kings, it says, parallel with Revelation 2:20. And it came to pass, as if it had been a light thing for him to walk in the sins of Jeroboam and the son of Nebat, and that he took to wife Jezebel, the daughter of Ethbaal, king of Zidonians, and went and served Baal and worshipped him. And 1 Kings 21:23 says, and of Jezebel also spoke the Lord, saying, the dog shall eat Jezebel by the wall of Jezreel. You know what's funny? Jesus, I don't think Jesus ever addressed Jezebel. Has anybody, except in the book of Revelation? It's kind of funny they would bring up Jezebel when he really didn't preach about that. In fact, most of the stuff in Revelation is not really, well, not even coherent, but anyway, it's not really, it's not like scolding point by point of things that he taught and then things people didn't even listen to, or like he taught you do this, but you did that instead. And I don't know. It's more of a, to me, it's more of a lashing of Paul. Anyway, I did that. Okay, now Revelation, we'll keep going because we're almost at the end. I'm going to show that map. Hold on, I'm going to show it right now because we're going to go on to I'm just going to show the map of the churches. Hold on a second. And I showed it yesterday, but I'm going to show it again. I should have just brought it up, but here's Revelation. So, you know, obviously he's talking directly to Paul. Well, whoever he's talking to the churches, but I think he's referencing Paul. But you can be the judge of that. So we will take up this one right here. That one right there. Huh. All right. Over here a little closer so you can see. All right. So here's the churches that he's talking about. Here's the island of Patmos where this revelation is taking place. This is Greece. And if you look on the map, island of Patmos is there. There's a bunch of islands here. And this one's shaped like a seahorse. You know what a seahorse is? In fact, you know what's weird? I had a dream about a seahorse. Because probably talking about the seahorse. Anyway, I had a dream about a seahorse. That's weird. Anyway, I was having it for a pet. And it didn't work out. Anyway. But here's the island of Patmos. Like I said, it's an island, no island shaped like a seahorse. And this is Greece. It's right off the the coast of, here's Turkey. Here's the 7 churches of Asia, okay? So you got Ephesus, Smyrna, Pergamos, Thyatira, Sardis, Philadelphia, and Laodicea. And so you can see, so here we are. Here's Greece. Here's Athens, Greece. Okay, we just went over them Greek gods and everything. So here's a backed out version. So here we're talking about what we see right here is right here. Here's the island of Patmos. Or actually, it should be right about here. So here's this picture that we're looking at right here. But if you back out, here's Greece, here's Turkey, okay? There's Athens, Greece. I mean, hello. Anyway. So there he is, John, at the island of Patmos out here. And this is where he's just off the coast. Not no prisoner, not like that. No, people just, there's so many stories and people just believe it, and there's no proof of nothing, anything. And there's zero proof that this is the same John as the Gospel of John or 1st, 2nd, 3rd John. Who knows? John Doe, we don't know. But anyway, John the Revelator. How about that? And this is where he received a vision. He received a vision. All right, so anyway, here's the 7 churches that we're going through right now. And by the way, according to Revelation, the Greek island of Patmos, Jesus Christ instructs John of Patmos to write on a scroll what he sees and send it to the 7 churches to Ephesus. Now, by the way, did he say, it doesn't say, send this to the people in the future. Send this to 2,000 years in the future, to a country that doesn't exist yet. Yeah, send it to people that have nothing to do with this. No, it doesn't say that. It says, John, send the letters to these people. It doesn't say this is what you're supposed to think about 2,000 years from now. Anyway, write on a scroll what you see and send to the 7 churches, to Ephesus and to Smyrna and Pergamon. Anyway, all these churches. The churches in this context refers to the 7 churches of Asia, but whatever. Actually, I'll go through a couple things here. Taken. All right. The predominant view is that Revelation alludes to the Old Testament, although it is difficult among scholars to agree on the exact number of allusions or the allusions themselves. Revelation rarely quotes directly from the Old Testament, yet almost every verse alludes to or echoes of older scriptures, which really doesn't make any sense. Like it says, nobody's quoting from the old. They're just like, it's not like, as Daniel the prophet once said, no, they just take his words. And anyway, Revelation rarely quotes directly from the Old Testament, yet almost every verse, as we're finding out, alludes or echoes ideas of older scriptures. Over half of the references stem from Daniel, Ezekiel, Psalms, and Isaiah, with Daniel with the most and Ezekiel after that. I mean, yeah. Predominantly alludes to Old Testament without telling you it's Old Testament. That's the kicker. It alludes to the Old Testament stuff, but if you don't know the Old Testament stuff, and by the way, even if you do know the Old Testament stuff, it is really kind of worthless. I mean, I don't know how it helps anybody. But even if you know the Old Testament stuff, it's even more confusing if you ask me. All right. So, and that was 2. All right, 2:20. 1st, 2nd Kings. Now we're at 2:23. I will kill her children with death, and all the churches shall know that I am he which searches the reins and hearts. Oops. and I will give unto every one you according to your works. Jeremiah 17:10 says, and I, the Lord, search the heart, try the reins, even to give every man according to his ways and according to the fruit of his doings. That's almost word for word. Look at that. Even the search the heart, try the reins, give every man according to his works. What did 2:23 say? I will kill her children with death. Well, he added the kill the children with death. He threw their children. The kill the children part ain't part of it. But anyway, but the rest is. And all the churches shall know that I am he that searches the reins and the hearts, and I will give unto thee every one of you according to your works. Man, that's almost exactly as Jeremiah, without the baby killing stuff. All right. And we'll continue down here. Oh, here. Actually, I missed this little verse here. So after the eat things sacrificed to idols, then this space is not parallel with anything. And I gave her space to repent of her fornication, and she repented not. Behold, I'll cast her into a bed, and them that commit adultery with her into great tribulation, except they repent of their deeds. You know, it really, I mean, besides eating stuff to idols, I don't know. It's just weird. Each one of these things he's mad about is just like one little thing. So I don't know. They ate the sacrifice meat anyway. And what did Paul say? Paul kept saying, don't worry if it's where it came from. Just eat it. It was on sale. Anyway. All right, so it says, okay, cast into the bed. Okay, and then 23. Now kill her children with death. This is one we just read. Kill her children with death. And all the churches shall know that I am he, which searcheth the reins of the hearts, just like Jeremiah. But unto you, I say, and unto the rest of Thyatira, as many as have not this doctrine, and which not knowing the death of Satan as they speak, I will put upon you none other burden. Whew, that's a relief, huh? But that which ye have already hold fast till I come. And he that overcometh and keepeth my words unto the end, to him I will give power over the nations. Now here's where it comes parallel again, and this parallel comes from Psalms. Where it is? Psalms 2:9. And he shall rule them with a rod of iron, as the vessels of potter shall they be broken to shivers, even as I received of my Father. And as you can see, they actually quoted there too, Psalms 2:8 and 9. And then the end says, we'll look at that one here in a second. This is the last one. And I will give him the morning star. That is interesting. Do you know who the morning star is? Some of you know. I can't see the comments right now, but I know you guys know. Who is the morning star? Look at this. Where is that? I got to underline that. There. Hold on a second. I got to underline that. Morning star. Kind of messy, but I got to underline that. Who is the morning star? That's right. He that has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says unto the churches. Morning star, row. Anyway, I'm not in the chat, but I'm coming back in the chat in a second. So hold on. One last one in Revelation 2:27, which we just heard. And he that ruleth with the iron as the vessels of potter shall be broken to shivers, even if my Father. Okay. Same as Psalms 2:9. Thou shalt break them with a rod of iron, and they shall dash them into pieces like a potter's vessel. Huh. Really? Potter vessel, shivers, rod of iron, broken vessels, potter, broken vessels, shivers, rod of iron. Okay. Got it. All right, now I'm going to come back and see who knows who is the scholars say some of Paul's letters are forgeries. Yeah, absolutely they are. In fact, we just went over it last night. We showed the little map, the timeline. As a matter of fact, out of 13 letters of Paul, I think like 7 are authentic, or I can't remember. In fact, we can go over that sometime. Yeah, absolutely, and they're easily proven as forgeries. Oops. Let's see if I can find it. Yeah, there's a list. All right, let me see if so if you look it up. Yeah, we'll put this. All right. Scholarly opinion is sharply divided on whether or not Colossians and 2nd Thessalonians are genuine letters of Paul. The remaining 4 contested epistles is Ephesians, the epistles 1st and 2nd Timothy and Titus have been pseudo-digraphical works by most critical scholars. Which of Paul's letters are genuine? Most scholars believe that Paul actually wrote 7. That's what it is. There's 13 letters. In the 13th apostle, 13. Remember, 13 is the number of rebellion. I think that's why we have 13 stripes on our flag, 13 colonies, 13 years of education, 13. Anyway, most scholars believe that Paul actually wrote 7 of the epistles. Galatians, Romans, 1 Corinthians, 2 Corinthians, Philemon, Philippians, and 1 Thessalonians. Why 3 of the epistles in Paul's names widely seen as pseudographical: 1 Timothy, 2 Timothy, and Titus. And they got good reasons why they reject them. You know what I mean? And I do absolutely believe that. I believe 2 Peter was a cover letter because they were there's so much time had gone by, and everybody's saying, "Where's the promise of the coming of the Lord?" Our grandpas died waiting for him to come back. What's going on here, Paul? Not even Paul. I think Paul was dead by the time that was written. I don't know. It might have been Paul. Somebody's covering. And he's like, I'll tell you what. If anybody comes and says it's been a really long time and you guys said he was going to be here decades ago, what's going on? If they say that, they're horrible devils. Cast them out, mark that person, and get rid of them. If anybody questions why it's taken so long, just get them out of the church. And they still do that today. If anybody says something, oh, you're a mocker. Mm-hmm. Yes, Paul the imposter. That's who he's addressing. I'm 100% convinced that in Revelation. I mean, whose fingerprints are in all these churches, Balaam, who spoke to the donkey, told the Jews to mingle with Gentiles to weaken them. Obviously, reference to Paul. Oh, yeah. Wow, that's a good one. That's a good one. Numbers 22. Yeah. Wow. Scholars say some of Paul's letters are forgeries. Yep. Some are proven to be. Yep. Saturn, but in the TV shows, Lucifer is a morning star. Yeah, Lucifer is a morning star, but actually it is Venus, I think. Oh, wait. The morning star in Isaiah, when they say, you fall like lightning, That is not Satan. That was one of the kings of Babylon that they're talking about. And the Lucifer, the morning star, is actually, you'll see it, and you go out right before sunrise, go out, and all the stars will disappear. And the only thing left is this really bright star, and the only one star left, and that is it Venus? I can't remember. Saturn? I can't remember. Let me look it up. And that's why they call it the morning star, because it's the only star left in the morning. Morning star is Venus. That's what I thought. Venus. And in fact, so Isaiah's not talking about Satan falling or whatever. All right. Since Venus is so striking in its twilight appearances, the planet features heavily in the sky mythologies worldwide. Venus's bright morning and evening appearances. Oh, by the way, it's the first one that comes out at night. So look, it's like, as I live out in so black and dark out here, there's millions of stars. And at night, there's the first one that comes out, and it's the last one that at sunrise. It's like that. You'll see it. Yeah, that is what they're talking about in Isaiah, the one that people said. And I think that's what Luke is probably misquoting. Right here. Why is Venus called the morning star, evening star? And isn't that crazy what he just said here? Morning star, like what? He's talking about Venus, you guys. Check that out. Look at it. He's talking about Venus. Where's this morning star? Let's put the Bible away. Well, you saw it. It said morning star. Here, I'm going to get it back because I'm going to show you. It said morning star. They're talking about Venus. Now, why would he give you Venus? I'll show you real quick. Why the heck would he say this? Right here. And I will give him the morning star. What? And he shall rule them with a rod of iron as a vessel of the potter. They just took this from Psalms, and they be broken to shivers. Or shivers. I can't see because I'm trying to hold this. All right. Even as I received of my Father, and I will give him the morning star. He that has an ear, let him hear. Isn't that weird they'd say that? He that has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says unto the churches. Do you have an ear to hear about this morning star, which is Venus? Now, why the heck would he be giving anybody Venus? I don't want Venus. Yeah, it is Venus. Mm-hmm. Yep, it is Venus. Now, what the heck? Why would you... And I will give him the morning star. Really? Morning star, huh? Given the number of Old Testament references, the Lucifer Easter egg must be intentional. I think it is, Gillix. I mean, that's sitting right in plain sight. Morning star. Mm-hmm. Yep. The morning star. Look at that. Oh, man. Yep. So if you just slow down and read this, and anyway, I mean, look at that. Look at these references. Just, And this is chapter 2. Look at chapter 3, 4, 5. I think there's 24 chapters, but maybe 26. I don't know. Maybe 24. How many chapters are there? 22. All right. Anyway, right down to the last verse. Oh, man. Anyway, so yeah, lots to go here. So you see how kind of redundant it could be, right? How, yeah, I mean, if you don't. Anyway, so I'm going through my Bible and I'm going to use this opportunity to every night to mark it out my Bible. We're going to go through the end and we'll see how much of this book of Revelation has been parallel verses with. And like I said, and not ever telling you that they're parallel verses. The satanic doomsday gimmick. Yeah, it is. It is. And do you know how many times they probably played this gimmick out? They probably did it in the 1800s. They did it in the 1900s. You know what I mean? 1980s, they did it. 1800s, 1700s, 1600s. I remember Barry Scarborough said, I think his mom was like on her deathbed or something. I can't remember. She's really old. I think she went to a nursing home or something. But anyway, Barry Scarborough was telling the mom that the rapture is going to be any moment, anytime, because of the war on TV and everything. And the grandma or the mom or whoever's in the nursing home was crying. It said, Barry, stop, stop. And he couldn't believe that she was giving up because she said, now this is a grandma, she said in the 1800s or whatever, 1911 or whatever it was, she remembered her grandpa sitting at the table, leaving notes for the left behind. And they all sat around the table and said goodbyes to everybody because they thought it was the end. When she was a little kid, like 100 years ago. I mean, and yeah, he don't get it. He thinks she's crazy. No, I think Barry should be in a nursing home and we should let her out. She's the only one in her right mind, I think. Anyway, yeah, and it's what it is. It's the death cult. And as long as you think that you're defeated and it's just not, resistance is futile. Don't even fight. This is God's will. Just give up. Go on YouTube. That's all everybody's saying. I'm so done. I'm just ready to get out of here. I just wish it'd be over with. Like, what cowards? Nothing's even happened yet. And they're giving up? No, what they're giving up is because they've worn each other down psychologically, like they're in some, prison camp getting, tortured by professionals. Like worse than Chinese water torture, like drip, drip, drip. You're going to die. You cut your head off. FEMA camps, blah, blah, blah. Any moment. War in Israel. Like, this is Steve Bannon from Israel. Yeah, I was in the military one time, and yeah, the generals are giving me the plans every day so I can tell you guys on YouTube. Really? Tell us more. Yeah, well, they're planning on taking over the United States. Yeah, the Russian and the Chinese are going to come from each direction. Well, if you're on the East Coast, it's going to be Chinese. If you're in the West Coast, it'll be Russia or whatever. Like, okay. And the generals are telling you on the phone every day, so you could tell us on YouTube. Yeah, support Israel or else. Yeah, and if you don't support Israel, you're going against God because God said that. I hate this place. I can't stand in here. I just want to go home. How would you like to be with those people in a real war? I think I would wait till they fall asleep and take off on my own. See ya. Don't give up on that cave over there. I'll be heading that way. Yeah, or anti-Semite. Yeah. They got a Saturn's cube there. Isn't that something? Isn't that something? You know what? Minnesota. Oh, I got to tell you guys about something. But anyway, in Minnesota, it was in Belle Plaine. I remember because my ex-husband used to work out there. Anyway, they had this Saturn's cube thing. And anyway, they put it up because the 10 Commandments were there, so they put their Saturn cube up. I think they're putting Saturn cubes everywhere that there's a 10 Commandment. They can't tear it down. Anyway, and the Baphomet ones too, but yeah. And Saturn is, yeah, you're right. That's when you're anti-Semite. If you don't support Israel, well, yeah. You're anti-Yahweh. Yahweh. No way. Yahweh. No way. You're anti-Yahweh. I'm anti-no way. Crazy, huh? Yeah. They really did a number on these people's minds, you know what I mean? And it's, they'll go to their death, most of them, thinking they're doing something good. Yeah, that's very clever, actually. If you think about it, you gotta give them props. In their own book, it said the devil deceives the whole world. Well, that's everybody, you know what I mean? Let's see, let me think. And who knows how old this Bible is? And by the way, any of you, anybody who's a King James only and all this other stuff, yeah. There was a guy, and I put him in my community thing a while ago, a couple months ago. But anyway, this guy had like every Bible he could possibly buy. I think they're all King James. I'm not sure, but they were dating back a couple hundred years. And he could open any King James, and they're all different. Every King James is different. They're all deceived except the prophet, yes. Because they got the Holy Spirit in them, and they can't be fooled. It's funny that the Holy Spirit argues with the next person who says they have the Holy Spirit in it. I'm not sure what's going on there. So I was listening to somebody on a live stream today, and he said that McDonald's. Oh, he's in Florida, and I don't know if he meant in Florida where he lives, but anyway, he says that McDonald's has been caught, like with these insurance policies. They were hiring young black men and giving them insurance policies, like in really bad neighborhoods where they're likely to, maybe not live. And then after the people quit, because they were putting insurance policies on the young black men that were young, like high risk, you know what I mean? And ones that weren't probably going to last very long there, and like probably, high risk of being killed. And then after the people quit, they kept the insurance policies on these people, and they were collecting money on all these kinds of young black men that were dying. And that's in the news. Crazy, huh? And everybody can just, anyway, what a world. This is the world that we're living in. And they can get away with anything that they want. And don't even get me started what's in the hamburgers. Oh, boy. Anyway. They're salty for a reason. Anyway. So I'll probably say good night. Yeah. Yep. I haven't seen the Fox yet tonight, but I'll keep watching. I don't know if I want to feed him or not. The phrase keeps coming to mind: a fox in the hen house. Now, if a fox is going to kill a hen, it probably might kill cats or kittens. I don't know. What's their line in the sand? You know what I mean? I don't know. They seem dangerous to be around. And they make scary noises sometimes. Anyway. All right, guys. Well, I'll say good night. And thanks for coming in. Good night, Ray of Sunshine, Grace, Galax, D. Omar. Let's see. Ray of Sunshine. Galax. D. Omar. Galax. Grace. D. Ray of Sunshine. Grace. Galax. All right. I want to make sure I don't miss anybody. Sometimes I do. And it's not on purpose. Anyway, so thanks for coming in, guys. Hope to see you tomorrow night. That'll be Wednesday night, huh? Anyway, yes, you have a good night too. Thanks for coming in, guys. Thanks for the thumbs up. And if you're listening on the replay, thanks for listening on the replay. And anyway, have a good rest of the evening and have an awesome Wednesday. Hump day. Look at that, hump day. All right, cool. Sweet. Good night, guys. Good night. Peace out. Rock on.